The cold abyss at the fringe of the solar system erupted into brilliance as thousands of vessels burst forth from the darkness. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the New Horizon, watching as his fleet took shape around him. 3,000. Years of wandering were over. They were finally home. Jake placed his hand against the chilled metal bulkhead, feeling the deep tremor of the colossal engines. Behind him, Dr. Lisa Chen studied the data streaming across her console, her gaze sharp and unblinking. The readings told them all they needed to know about the world they had left behind. Earth still existed, but it no longer belonged to them. Admiral Ryan Carter's voice came over the comms from his flagship, weighted with the gravity of 3 millennia of planning and resolve. The fleet, once a ragged band of survivors, had grown into a power capable of challenging entire civilizations. Every ship bristled with weapons the galaxy had never witnessed, every human aboard aflame with the memory of what was taken. Dr. Chen's expression darkened as she scanned the planet's surface. Verdant continents had given way to vast crystal. Growths sparkling in the sun. Cities built over millennia were replaced by organic, insect-like constructs. The air itself shimmered with alien energy, casting the sky in unnatural hues. Commander Sophie Williams strode onto the bridge, uniform. Immaculate, expression controlled. But Jake caught the fire in her eyes. Born during exile, she had never set foot on Earth, yet carried its stories like sacred truth. Her fury was inherited, not remembered, rage passed down through bloodlines. As the fleet advanced into the system, Jake recalled his grandfather's tales. The Triumvirate Coalition had come, declaring humanity too savage for civilized space. The crystalline Zapirians, architects of flawless geometric cities, despised human disorder. The hive-minded Vex collective named individuality a plague. The Luminary, beings of pure energy, condemned human emotion as dangerous and crude. Their ultimatum, abandon Earth forever or face annihilation. Human leaders had pleaded, offering coexistence and change, but the aliens refused. They wanted humanity erased and had the power to do it. Billions perished in the war, but enough fled to keep the species alive. Jake studied the tactical map as his fleet spread into the outer system. Near Jupiter, they met the first Triumvirate patrol. The alien commander's voice trembled with disbelief. Humanity was supposed to be extinct or scattered beyond return. Dr. Chen engaged the gravity distortion systems perfected in exile. Space warped around the alien ships, their hulls twisting. Shields useless. Without a single shot fired, the patrol vessels were already completely helpless. The remaining aliens sent urgent transmissions to Earth, warning of humanity's return, but their signals died within quantum interference fields. Jake's lips curved into a cold smile as he watched their ships drift powerless in the void. They would be spared, just long enough to deliver a message, nothing more. Admiral Carter's voice filled every frequency in every major galactic tongue. Calm, deliberate, each word carried the inevitability of what lay ahead. He told Earth's alien masters that humanity remembered. He spoke of the billions lost in the Exodus, of the children born among the stars without a home to claim. The fleet pushed onward, meeting more alien interceptors. Each clash ended the same, human technology rendering triumvirate defenses useless. Weapons once deemed unstoppable millennia ago were laughable compared to humanity's new creations. The exiles had used their centuries well, learning from every species they met. Commander Williams reported that the advanced scouts stood ready, elite infiltrators trained for reconnaissance and covert strikes. They bore devices that erased them from alien sensors and carried weapons that killed without leaving a trace. Jake's mind drifted to ancestors who had walked Earth's soil before exile, who breathed untainted air, watched sunsets unfiltered by alien fields, and gazed on stars unmasked by crystalline spires. All of it stolen, replaced by alien design. Dr. Chen's teams had studied the three conqueror species for decades, mapping their fears. The Zephyrians worshipped flawless order. The Vex Collective relied entirely on their hive link. The Luminary feared disruption to their energy cohesion. Humanity had crafted tailored weapons, sonic emitters to shatter Zephyrian crystal, quantum viruses to sever Vex hive bonds, energy dampeners to force Luminary into fragile physical form. As Earth's orbit neared, Jake saw the defense grid. Vast stations armed to the teeth, automated platforms patrolling in flawless patterns. They had forged a fortress, but one built against conventional war. Carter's order came. Thousands of human ships surged forward. Alien guns came online, their commanders demanding surrender. Humanity had not crossed the void to yield. Talk was over. Justice was here. Jake's hands tightened on the bridge rail as Earth swelled in the viewport. Beneath alien citadels and crystal towers lay the ruins of human civilization, the resting places of those who had died for their world. Awaiting their kin's return, exile was ending. The true war was about to begin. Lieutenant Commander Alex Turner stepped from his stealth pod onto Earth for the first time. The air felt wrong, gravity subtly alien to him. Around him, his infiltration team moved like shadows, through the ruins of what had once been New York City. The towering structures above were not the skyscrapers humanity had raised, but colossal organic forms pulsing with alien vitality. Vex collective architecture had replaced concrete and steel with growths that seemed birthed from the earth itself. The streets were coated in a thick amber resin, the insectoid substitute for pavement. Dr. Amy Rodriguez knelt beside a shattered monument, brushing away layers of alien growth. Beneath the organic crust, she found traces of human lettering, most of it intentionally destroyed. The occupiers had not simply seized the cities, they had worked to erase every vestige of human culture. Colonel Ben Harrison scanned the area through his binoculars. Vex warriors marched in flawless formations, while winged scouts patrolled overhead. After 3 millennia, they had grown complacent, their defenses designed to deter alien rivals, not human infiltrators. Alex triggered his cloak and slipped deeper into the city. The exile-born technology rendered him invisible to alien sensors, his steps soundless on the amber streets. He passed clusters of Vex laborers tending the organic towers, none aware of his passing. Their mission: assess Earth's transformation and identify its weaknesses. What they uncovered was worse than imagined. The invaders had not merely conquered, they had remade the planet in their own image. Rodriguez located the buried remains of the Metropolitan Museum beneath layers of hive growth. Squeezing through a breach, she lit her way and froze. Rage steadied her trembling hands. The aliens had turned part of it into a trophy hall, stocked with human relics. Primitive weapons and tools sat in display cases labeled as artifacts of an obsolete race. Holograms replayed the final battles for Earth, portraying humans as dangerous savages purged for galactic safety. Alex reached the heart of Manhattan and stared at a vast Vex hive raised atop the ruins of the United Nations. The statement was, deliberate. Over humanity's greatest symbol of unity stood their oppressor's monument. Harrison crept through converted subway tunnels, now breeding chambers. The walls throbbed with living tissue, air heavy with the stench of alien reproduction. He set surveillance nodes to track Vex traffic and communications. The team confirmed the planet's division. Zephyrians ruled the western continents beneath crystalline geometries. The Vex reshaped the eastern lands into endless hives, and the Luminari had transformed the seas into glowing energy fields. Rodriguez reached the site of Washington, D.C. to find a tri-species capital, crystal fused with hive growth and energy structures, standing where the White House once welcomed human leaders. Alex infiltrated alien archives, unearthing records of a resistance that had fought for decades after the Exodus. Small human bands waged guerrilla war from hidden redoubts until hunted down, each defeat lauded as proof of alien superiority. The archives made one truth plain. They had not only removed humanity from Earth, they had sought to prove their dominance by recording every act as an enduring example for other species who might defy triumvirate rule. Harrison uncovered proof that, in the early occupation years, the aliens had experimented on captured humans, seeking to unravel the roots of their unpredictability and ferocity. The work ceased only when the last prisoners perished, leaving the records as grim monuments to alien cruelty. The team's greatest find came when Alex discovered the buried remains of Noad, entombed beneath Zapirian crystal. The mountain's core had been gutted and filled with alien tech, but its deepest levels lay sealed and forgotten. With cutters that sliced crystal as if it were paper, Alex breached the ancient barriers, reaching original human installations. Within the dust-laden command center, Rodriguez found systems still alive on emergency power after 3 millennia. The data cores held critical intelligence on triumvirate vulnerabilities uncovered during the war, unused weapon designs, untested tactical strategies. Most vital of all were files on a secret program, Operation Phoenix. Conceived by Earth's last defenders, it aimed to turn the planet itself into a weapon against its conquerors. Though unfinished when Earth fell, the complete research remained, waiting for hands to complete what heroes had begun. Alex sent the data to the fleet via undetectable quantum channels. Carter's reply was immediate, tinged with cold satisfaction. Exile was ending. The thieves of Earth would soon face the sum of 3,000 years of human ingenuity. The infiltrators readied for extraction, but not before Rodriguez placed a small device within the ruins of the Lincoln Memorial. Though the statue was gone, its foundation endured beneath alien growth. The device would broadcast a signal when humanity came to reclaim its home. As Alex's stealth pod lifted, he looked down on the alien-built cities sprawled across his birthplace. Soon those spires would be ash, their crystal towers molten slag. Reconnaissance was complete. Vengeance was next. The human fleet swept into Earth's orbit like a storm of steel and flame. General Patricia Stone stood within her assault ship's command center, watching alien defense platforms ready their weapons. The triumvirate had forged an imposing shield of stations and automated guns, yet had overlooked a fatal flaw. Chief Engineer Marcus Johnson, aboard the flagship, engaged the quantum disruption field, a breakthrough born from humanity's study of the universe's fundamental forces. The wave expanded invisibly from human vessels, and as it touched the defenses, chaos followed. Zapirian crystal cannons failed as their energy lattices collapsed. Vex organic platforms went lifeless, their biology ceasing to function. Luminary energy arrays sputtered out as their coherence unraveled. In under 30 seconds, the galaxy's mightiest defense net lay dead. Captain Diana Walsh guided her stealth destroyer, Silent Thunder, through the crippled grid, phasing through. Solid matter with dimensional shift tech beyond alien detection. She materialized inside enemy stations, eliminated their crews, then vanished once more, a ghost in the void. Admiral Carter's voice thundered over every comm channel as his message reached the world below. In flawless Zephyrian, using their highest diplomatic register, he declared that exile had taught humanity much. Then, in the rapid clicks of Vex speech, he described how patience had been honed into something far more lethal. Finally, in the resonant harmonics of the luminary, he promised their deepest nightmares were about to take form. Panic rippled through alien ranks as messages poured in, demanding to know how humans had returned and gained such formidable technology. Carter's reply was broadcast openly so all could hear. 3 millennia ago, they had branded humans too violent for civilized space, too erratic for galactic stability. General Stone unleashed the first ground offensives, not at military targets, but at the alien life-supporting infrastructure. Sonic barrages splintered Zephyrian crystal networks, transforming elegant cities into lethal shards that cut through anything in range. The Vex Collective found their living cities collapsing from within, consumed by quantum viruses tailored to their bioarchitecture. Hive structures devoured themselves, drones failing to halt the spread, only hastening it. Luminary beings saw their atmospheric currents shredded by quantum static generators seeded in the skies, collapsing their sustenance and communication fields. Many were forced into physical shells, suddenly vulnerable to conventional fire. Captain Walsh's Silent Thunder executed pinpoint eliminations on alien command hubs, materializing inside fortified strongholds to remove leadership before coordination was possible. The Triumvirate had never seen technology able to bypass all their defenses so completely. Attempts to contact off-world allies failed. Human forces had already crushed every Triumvirate outpost in the sector. Earth was sealed off from rescue. Dr. Peter Knox, aboard the Intel vessel, sifted through alien transmissions. He knew precisely how to break each species' spirit. For the order-obsessed Zephyrians, human forces sculpted impossible crystal forms that warped perception. For the hive-minded Vex, Knox deployed quantum noise that shattered collective thought, driving many to madness. Severed from their hive, Vex turned on each other in panic. The Luminary, pure energy terrified of entropy, now faced weapons that could end their essence entirely. For the first time, they knew real fear. Major Nicole Grant spearheaded elite squads reclaiming humanity's sacred landmarks, fighting brutal contests in ruined cities, not for strategy, but for proof that humanity had come home to stay. Every triumph was streamed across the galaxy, a challenge to any who doubted. London's ruins saw 3 days of battle as human troops carved through alien layers to reach the stone bones of ancient halls. Planting the flag at Parliament's site sent a message no one could miss. Humanity was taking back its heritage. Admiral Christina Blake's heavy fleet then began erasing all alien industry on Earth. Vast complexes that fueled the Triumvirate, War Machine were obliterated under antimatter fire. Space elevators were severed, falling to crush the cities beneath. Terraformers, once used to remake Earth, were seized and reprogrammed, restoring native skies and climates. Where alien crystal forests had stood, soil cleansed of contamination now held fresh seedlings. Seeing the tide turn, Triumvirate leaders scrambled for negotiations as the realization set in. Never fought an enemy who struck with such precision and refused to be slowed by defense or delay. Grant's teams moved relentlessly upward, cutting through barricades, collapsing fortified corridors and leaving behind a trail of silence where alien resistance had once stood. Outside, the night sky burned with streaks of antimatter fire as Admiral Blake's fleet pounded the last bastions of alien control. The Triumvirate leaders, shaken, desperate, and surrounded, sent out one final plea for mercy. But humanity had no intention of repeating the mistakes of the past. Carter's voice returned to the airwaves, cold and final. There will be no shared Earth, no coexistence, no sanctuary. You had your chance, and you chose exile for my people. Now I return. The favor. The words echoed across every channel, carried far beyond the planet to any who might think to oppose humanity again. In the alien capital's highest chamber, high crystalline Zexathera's final transmission dissolved into static as Grant's unit breached the room. The Hive Mother's mind link shattered completely, leaving her alone for the first and last time. Energy Prime Lumbar's form flickered, unraveling into nothing under a focused entropy beam. The era of alien dominance over Earth ended not with negotiation, but with fire and silence. From orbit to the surface, the planet shook as the last enemy strongholds were erased. terraforming machines worked in reverse, stripping away millennia of alien alteration. Forests began to grow again on reclaimed soil, and rivers carved their ancient paths once more. Above it all, the human fleet formed a protective web in the skies, no longer exiles but guardians of their reborn homeworld. Across the galaxy, every species that had watched humanity's fall now witnessed their return and understood the unspoken message. Humanity does not forgive. Humanity does not forget. Softened by 3 millennia of unopposed dominance, while humanity had been tempered into unbreakable steel by exile. The triumvirate leaders made one last frantic bid for peace, transmitting directly to Admiral Carter. They promised unconditional surrender, vowing to leave Earth at once. They spoke of sharing the galaxy as equals, of learning to coexist. Their plea went out across every channel so no human could miss it. Carter's reply rang through the fleet and echoed across Earth's reclaimed surface. He reminded them that, 3,000 years earlier, humanity had offered the same hand of peace. The answer had been exile at gunpoint, humanity deemed too savage for civilized space. Knox monitored alien networks collapsing under the weight of panic. His psychological war struck perfectly. Zephyrians abandoned their flawless symmetry, throwing up chaotic shapes in desperation. The Vex Collective splintered, drones slaughtering each other instead of the enemy. The Luminari bled energy reserves, burning themselves out to hold form. Blake's fleet commenced the final stage, annihilating alien terraforming machines that had poisoned skies and warped climates. Human crews deployed restoration arrays, beginning Earth's return to her original form. Grant stormed the top level of the alien capital to find the 3 leaders crouched in fear. Every defense they had was useless against human tech. The once mighty masters of galactic war now knelt before the people they had tried to erase. Major Grant took them into custody, broadcasting their surrender across the stars. The message was undeniable. Humanity had crushed the coalition that had ruled by fear for millennia. They had been labeled too chaotic, too violent for order. But now the galaxy saw violence honed by 3,000 years of patience and sharpened into pure justice. Earth was humanity's again, though the memory of occupation would never fade. The graves of fallen resistance fighters were avenged. Children of exile would now walk their ancestral ground. 3 months later, President Ellen Roberts stood on the restored White House steps before thousands gathered for the homecoming. Alien spires were gone, replaced by structures blending history with the promise of tomorrow. Above, the sky was clear and blue for the first time in 3,000 years. Dr. Kevin Walsh oversaw tireless terraforming crews purging toxins from the air and land with perfected exile-born machines. Shattered crystal continents were smelted into monuments of human endurance. General Samuel Cross walked the new Galactic Defense Force headquarters, where humanity's future defenders charted an expansion ensuring no power would ever again threaten existence. Star charts lined the walls, marking future human colonies and trade lanes guarded by the most formidable fleet the galaxy had ever witnessed. The trial of the 3 alien leaders became a galaxy-wide broadcast, a spectacle of justice in motion. Admiral Carter acted as chief prosecutor, opening with a speech that reminded all why the triumvirate had fallen. He laid out proof of the calculated dismantling of human civilization and the genocide of billions whose only wish had been to live peacefully on their homeworld. High crystalline Zex, Thather Thera sat in the defendant's dock, listening as Carter detailed how her kind had demolished human monuments and replaced them with hollow geometric constructs designed solely to erase history. Cracks marred her flawless crystalline body, her once radiant energy patterns dimmed by fear and despair. Hive Mother Keknith, once the psychic commander of millions, had lost her link to the swarm forever, quantum disruption severing her mind from the collective. For a being unacquainted with solitude, the isolation was a fate worse than death. her multifaceted eyes shedding fluids unnamed by her species. Energy Prime Lumbar was trapped in corporeal form, unable to return to his natural state of pure thought and light. The entropy blasts had rewritten his molecular structure, forcing him to endure crude biological senses, every heartbeat and breath a fresh agony. Meanwhile, Dr. Walsh's crews completed Central Park's restoration. Children now played beneath, freshly planted trees rooted in purified soil, their laughter mingling with the scent of earth and blossoms instead of alien chemicals. Schools rose to teach a history unmarred by exile, shaping generations who would never know its shame. The alien defendants tried to defend their crimes, claiming humans were too violent and unpredictable to coexist with civilized life. They spoke of human individuality as chaos, of human passion as a threat to order. But their arguments died beneath the weight of their own atrocities. Carter's rebuttal became legend, quoted for centuries. They were correct that humans were dangerous, but had utterly misunderstood the truth. Humanity was most dangerous not in rage, but in patience when given time to prepare its vengeance. From the very steps where leaders had once pleaded for peace, President Roberts delivered her inaugural address, declared that humanity's age of weakness was over, and Earth would stand as the heart of a new galactic order. Her words were broadcast to every human settlement and alien world, leaving no doubt about humanity's resolve. The three alien leaders were condemned to life imprisonment in facilities where they would watch humanity's reach spread across the stars. They would see human vessels land on their former homeworlds, delivering the same decree of displacement they had once imposed on Earth. They would witness human colonies rise on planets their kind had ruled for millions of years. General Cross founded military academies where officers studied the strategies that had shattered the triumvirate's power. The lessons were blunt yet decisive. Superior technology meant nothing without the will to wield it. Human fleets now patrolled the trade lanes, enforcing laws that shielded smaller species from the kind of tyranny humanity had endured. Dr. Walsh stood in the restored Arlington National Cemetery, where memorials honored both the warriors who had fallen in Earth's final liberation and the billions who perished in exile. The eternal flame burned for those who had dreamed of return, yet died among the stars. Their sacrifice remained etched in memory, their descendants now claiming the birthright denied for millennia. Admiral Carter walked through the newly rebuilt United Nations building, restored stone for stone as it had been 3,000 years earlier. Delegates from dozens of worlds now traveled to Earth to seek humanity's counsel and request protection against threats their own forces could not face. The galaxy's balance of power had shifted forever. Children who laughed in Earth's renewed parks would grow up knowing their people commanded respect across the stars. They would serve aboard ships charting new systems, planting the banner of humanity on distant worlds. They would never know the terror their forebears had endured, nor the humiliation of exile. The galaxy had learned a truth it would remember. For 1,000 generations, humanity's return was not a plea for acceptance, but a declaration of supremacy. Those who once called humans too violent for civilized space now lived under human law, guarded by human fleets. Earth was once again home, and the long voyage through darkness had ended. The age of human dominion had begun, and the stars themselves bore witness to the promise fulfilled. Humanity had come home to stay,